Let's talk again about the distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books. I and so many others have spoken on this so many times. You may think, well, what's the point of speaking about it again and again and again? You could say that about any aspect of Krishna consciousness. Why speak again and again and again that we're not the body? It needs to be reinforced. We need to hear it again and again. And although there are so many important services, there's no doubt that Srila Prabhupada put a lot of emphasis on the distribution of his books. Some services are very specialized, such as preaching among top-rate intellectuals. Some services not many devotees have been able to get into, such as protecting cows. It's also very, very, very important. But how Srila Prabhupada wanted every devotee to take part in Lord Chaitanya's mission of uplifting the fallen souls, or a way that everyone can do, is by distributing his books. We can go on Harinam Sankirtan. That's very, very good. Amazingly, it may seem, Srila Prabhupada emphasized even more the distribution of his books. Not that he de-emphasized going on Harinam Sankirtan. And really, public Sankirtan has to be emphasized more in our movement. It seems that devotees, when they come together to chant, they prefer to do so in indoor Kirtan melas. I would prefer, who am I? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted public Kirtan. So he did do indoor Kirtan, but he also did daily in Puri. Prabhupada said he would chant for 4 hours daily in public with his associates. Nevertheless, Srila Prabhupada did emphasize the distribution of his books. Another thing he emphasized again and again and again is that devotees, especially he said Indians, they should all be gurus. In Tehran, he met some Indian people for the first time, and after speaking to them for a short time, said, you should all be gurus. Every Vaishnav can and should be a guru, inasmuch as they should teach by practice and by precept that everyone should surrender to Krishna. Not everyone can be a Diksha Guru. Actually, there should be more. But at least if we feel shy or unqualified or whatever for giving initiation, we all have the responsibility to be at least Shiksha Gurus. Everyone who takes to Krishna consciousness is supposed to know what Krishna teaches, and in this way become Krishna Tattva Veta. Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Shri Guru Hoy. To know what Krishna teaches, to know what is taught about Krishna by authorized devotees, qualifies one as a knower of Krishna Tattva. And we're supposed to live by that, and we're supposed to teach that. Srila Prabhupada said, I heard this from Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu, told me that several times Prabhu Vishnu Prabhu told me that Srila Prabhupada had told him several times that book distribution is the guru's business. So, it's the responsibility of every Vaishnava. Janma sartak kare karo para upaka. It's our responsibility to make our own life successful, and also to look to making other people's lives successful. And again, we may think, well, who am I to preach, to instruct? Well, in a sense, we don't have to. If we hand out Srila Prabhupada's books, then we give people the opportunity to take Srila Prabhupada's perfect instructions we shouldn't avoid that responsibility, that mission. We want to please Srila Prabhupada, we want to please all the acharyas. He has so much emphasized on this. Jare dekho tare kaha Krishna upadesh amaragai guru hoya taro edesh. At least we can deliver the people in our own local area. There's another verse Srila Prabhupada would often cite, Pritiving Sashishyat, one who has controlled all the urges of the mind, belly, genitals, the urge to speak, and so on. Such a person can make disciples all over the world. But at least in our local area, we should think how we can give out these books, or at least we should approach everyone. A Vaishnav can think of the area, the physical area in which he or she is placed by fate as Prabhudatta Desh, the place which is given to us by Krishna, that we should try to uplift others in that area. And by doing so, we serve Srila Prabhupada, we serve his mission, we serve Lord Chaitanya. How do we serve Lord Chaitanya? Well, it's not just giving out the books, but as we used to think in the 1970s, we were so enlivened to distribute books because we thought that, or we were told that, every book distributed is a brick in Mayapur. By selling books in the West, that would send money to the BBT, who sent money for building the Mayapur temple. It was a brilliant plan of Srila Prabhupada, who wanted to develop Mayapur as the spiritual capital of the world, which requires huge amounts of funds, and Srila Prabhupada wanted huge distribution of his books, and the two endeavors come together, that by distributing the books, profit is generated, and a part of that profit goes for building the Mayapur temple. So that keeps the book distributors enthused also, that we're helping to develop this project which is so dear to Srila Prabhupada. Some time ago I saw on the book distribution Nectar email conference, which I'm a member of, and it's also published elsewhere on the internet, stories of devotees who meet people and distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, stories from around the world. So I came across one good line. I believe it was someone in New Zealand had met an Indian and was trying to sell a book of Srila Prabhupada's to him, and he gave a very good line that spirituality is like the Ganga. It's a massive flow of mercy. But you can't take the Ganga home. This book is like the Ganga. It's like a kamandalu in which you can bring the Ganga home. You can't bring the whole Ganga, but you can bring this book home. You can bring the essence of all spirituality to your home, just like you can bring a kamandalu, a little container for carrying Ganga water, and you can sanctify your whole family. Now, that's a very good line. Let's read from some letters of Srila Prabhupada. He wrote so many letters. Amazing. Srila Prabhupada traveling all over the world, meeting so many people, giving so many lectures, spending hours every day writing books, and still he'd write so many letters every day. Not every day, sometimes when he was traveling, he was very busy, but he didn't. But generally while he was taking massage, he would have the letters read to him and he would immediately dictate replies. Srila Prabhupada writes, regarding printing our books and literatures, I may inform you in this connection that I saw one bulletin of Indian Railways in which it was specifically advised that every railway servant should see to it that the wheels of the carriages or the vehicles must be moving always, which means that the railway is going nicely. In other words, every railway employee should think, I am responsible for the wheels of the carriages to be moving. The railway, there are so many employees doing so many things on the railway. It's here in India, Indian Railways is a government owned and a major employer. There's so many things. Station masters and ticket, what do you call it? Ticket sellers and the guards on the train and the train driver, and there are engineers and safety officers, people cleaning and people keeping accounts and so many different things, computer operators. But everyone should think that I have to do my service properly to help that the wheels keep moving. The wheels have to keep on moving. 24 hours a day, trains are running throughout India, and everyone should think, I am part of a major operation serving the people of this country. That's in Indian Railways. So Srila Prabhupada said that we as members of Srila Prabhupada's International Society for Krishna Consciousness should have the same kind of attitude. Srila Prabhupada wrote, similarly, all of us should see that our literatures are profusely distributed. What do we get from this? If the trains are not running, the trains become cancelled due to operational flaws, or the trains are not running on time, then everyone in the Indian Railways, the whole operation, even if someone's designated for cleaning the platform, they should feel for that. If it's not going on properly, they should feel for that I'm part of this great operation. It's a matter of pride to be part of such a great operation, but now it's not going properly. The cleaner, the person who's employed to clean the platform, may not be able to do anything directly about it, because that's not his area of operation, but he should feel for it. So Srila Prabhupada says, similarly, all of us should see that our literatures are profusely distributed. So it may be that as a devotee has a service as a cook or pujari in the temple. Of course, the cook and the pujari can also distribute books. Maybe go out for a short time, or people come to the temple when the cook or the pujari, or cook cum pujari, is not cooking or directly doing altar service. But the point is, as Prabhupada said, that means that our missionary work is going on nicely. If the books are being profusely, note this word, profusely distributed, that means our missionary work is going on nicely. Otherwise, we are simply sleeping and eating. Whoa, that's a strong statement. We may be very busy doing so many other things, but Srila Prabhupada says that if our books are not being profusely distributed, we are simply sleeping and eating. And we say, no, well, we're cleaning the floors and we're worshipping the deities, we have prasadam distribution, but Srila Prabhupada here implies it's not enough unless the books are being profusely distributed. Srila Prabhupada goes on in this letter to say the literature we have already designated as Brihat Mridanga. So distribution of literature means great Sankirtan. Here's just one sentence which is worth meditating upon. What are we doing in this Krishna conscious movement? We wanted to be successful. What does it mean by success? Well, success means people take up devotional service, they practice it seriously, many people chant Hare Krishna even if they don't all take it up so seriously. There are many ways in which success in terms of the Krishna conscious movement could be considered, the best we could think is that many people take up Krishna consciousness seriously. Srila Prabhupada wrote in one letter, if we simply sell many books, then our all success is guaranteed. How about that? Sell many books, all success is guaranteed. Meditate on that. There's so many programs we have to do. But if many books are going out, books are the basis. Everything else will come along. As Srila Prabhupada famously said, print as many books and in as many languages and distribute all over the world, and the Krishna consciousness movement will automatically increase. In this line, Srila Prabhupada, he wrote, if we simply sell many books, then all our success is guaranteed. That was a letter on the 25th of December, 1971. The next day, he wrote to another devotee, distribution of books and magazines is our most important activity. Without books, our preaching has no solid basis. Without books, our preaching has no solid basis. Again, Srila Prabhupada wrote to Bhagavan Das, who was well known for being one of the most powerful speakers on topics of Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada wrote to him, well, what will your 3-minute lecture do? But if people take a book, if someone takes a book, that may change their life. So books are the basis of this preaching. Books and magazines also. Srila Prabhupada also said magazines. At that time, the Back to Godhead magazine, Srila Prabhupada said, this is the backbone of our movement. So Srila Prabhupada very much wanted this Back to Godhead magazine widely distributed also. That's something which is lacking throughout the world. You could say with the advent of the internet, printed magazines have taken somewhat of a back seat. Anyway, the point is, this is a very, very strong statement. Without books, our preaching has no solid basis. Our most important activity, underline it, put it in our head. There's lots of preaching to do in all kinds of different avenues and formats. But we shouldn't underestimate or think that anything has or ever will supplant the distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books. Here's a quote from another letter. I'm glad to hear that you are distributing nicely books and magazines. The more we sell books, the more we advance in Krishna consciousness, and the more we help others to have solid information, how they may take advantage of their human form of life and achieve the supreme perfection. I'm glad to hear that you're distributing nicely books and magazines. How can we advance in Krishna consciousness? Good question. Well, we have the answer in the Nectar of Devotion and throughout Srila Prabhupada's books. But here's a good clue. The more we sell books, the more we advance in Krishna consciousness. We get a lot of mercy by distributing the books. And we help others to have solid information. Srila Prabhupada is again using this word, solid. Solid information. In the previous letter that I quoted, Srila Prabhupada said, without books, our preaching has no solid basis. And here he's speaking about solid information. How they may take advantage of their human form of life and achieve the supreme perfection. Solid information. And we can appreciate that when we read Srila Prabhupada's books. Solid information about who is God, who are we, how to approach Him. Now, from another letter. I especially appreciate your attitude. This is to Bhaktadas, this letter. I especially appreciate your attitude toward increasing more and more and there's a word missing, it's the sales of our books or the distribution of our books. That will sanctify all other activities of preaching, because preaching means selling books. Preaching means selling books. So again, Srila Prabhupada says, distribution of books and magazines is our most important activity. If we simply sell many books, then our all success is guaranteed. And here we have that the distribution and sales of our books, that sanctifies all other activities of preaching. So there are other areas of preaching. Srila Prabhupada wanted many areas of preaching, different kinds of preaching. But again, he says preaching means selling books. Without selling books, whatever other preaching we do, it won't have the same Shakti. Srila Prabhupada emphasized it so much. We may wonder, why so much emphasis in distributing books? Read the books, then you'll understand. How powerful is this message? Satang prasangan mama virya samvidaha. Virya samvidaha. Powerful messages. These are powerful messages which are delivered by our powerful Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, and his books. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samsharaha. The effect of Srila Prabhupada's writing, fully in line with the powerful message, Bhagavan Badarayanaha, of Bhagavan Badara, means Shukadev Goswami, who is so powerful. His message, it pierces the knots in the hearts and cuts to pieces all doubts. You may think, well, we can all just go and live in Vrindavan and chant Hare Krishna. Not such an easy thing to do. About 10 months of the year, it's very difficult to live in Vrindavan because of the climate. In the winter, it's very cold. In the summer, it's very hot. In the winter, it's very muggy and you get rashes all over your body. Most of the year, it's very difficult. There are not that many devotees who, at least ISKCON devotees, who go there and actually stay throughout the year. There are quite a few who stay throughout much of the year, but when it gets too hot, they go away. And many devotees get sick because of the climate and so many things. But everyone can. I'm not trying to discourage anyone. I'm just pointing out that to live in Vrindavan is not such an easy thing. If you can do that, that's very good. If you can simply sit in Vrindavan and chant Hare Krishna, very good. But we have work all over the world to inform people about Vrindavan. I first read Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book, Volume 2. That was the first book of Srila Prabhupada's I read in this lifetime. That was Volume 2 of the 3-volume paper book set. And the first line I read was about Vrindavan. So I learned about Vrindavan. I didn't really learn very much, but I heard about Vrindavan, and my curiosity was whetted about Vrindavan. Now you distribute these books by millions all over the world, Srila Prabhupada writes. Then everyone will see how wonderful is Vrindavan. That is the best preaching work. There's so many similar quotes to this one, that distributing Srila Prabhupada's books is the best preaching work. And we can see how much Srila Prabhupada was interested in preaching, how he fully gave himself to preaching. And he emphasized so much. So we can serve Vrindavan. That day may come when we have the opportunity to live in Vrindavan. If we can't live there physically, we should try to live there mentally, but we can serve Vrindavan. And even living in Vrindavan is very good, recommended by Rupa Goswami. But if we can serve Vrindavan by serving that great personality from Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada, who came from Vrindavan to bring Vrindavan all over the world, we can serve him by serving his mission, by pointing people toward Vrindavan, by distributing his books. Distribute these books by millions all over the world. Srila Prabhupada, he didn't think in a small way. Then everyone will see how wonderful is Vrindavan. Everyone. Vanta kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya avacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dante nithaya churnakang padayonipatya kritvacha karkushatam etad. Aham ravimi, hey sadhava sakala eva vihaya durad, Gauranga chanda charne kurutanuraga. Parivadatu jano yata tata va nanumukaro navayang vicharayamaha hari rasamadira madati mata bhuvi vilokama nartama nirvishama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.